So listen, when we're overwhelmed, we may overlook the simple things we can do to lighten the load. The start of the school year can definitely feel overwhelming, and there are things to do and places to be, but my next guest wants you to take a step back and to start small. As we close out the conversation in our Back to School series, Lisa Andersen will help us start the year smart. Lisa is one of those moms we look up to. She inspires other moms on social media by sharing solutions and ideas that make motherhood easier. And today she's calling out the small things you can try to make the transition from summer to school that much more seamless. Thank you, sister, for being here. We appreciate your voice.
So glad to be here.
How's your temperature at your house right now, pre-back to school?
We're ready. I'm ready.
You're ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah, it's feeling good.
Yes.
It's feeling good.
We're excited.
And you share the sentiment that back to school is just as good, if not better, than the new year. And I totally meet you there.
Yeah, I think especially when you have kids and you have this natural transition, it's just a really good time to reevaluate. Okay, how are things going? What do we need to change? What goals do we want to set? It's a great time. So that's kind of my big goal setting time.
It's Mom's New Year. There's a natural momentum built in. So ride the wave, right?
Yep.
And make it a time of year we can capitalize on and really refine our home systems. You have ways we can start small in our own homes. First, a way to help the kids start smart. You want us to help them set non-grade related goals.
Yes, exactly. I think it's so easy to think, okay, I'm gonna, you want your kids to get good grades and do well in school, but there's so much more to that than learning that they can learn in school. They can learn how to build their character and how to learn grit and do hard things. And so I think it's so much easier and less overwhelming for kids to decide, okay, I'm going to study for 1 hour a day, or I'm going to do my homework at 3 o'clock every day, or I'm going to meet one new person a day. That's just so much more empowering for them and like action oriented rather than I'm just going to get A's.
I have a little buddy who is so geeked about the idea of joining the Lego club this year. Mom missed the signups last year, so we're going to be on the ball this year. But he asked me the cutest question. He said, how do you know if you're doing good in the Lego club? And that kind of speaks to what you're saying, like branching beyond just a letter grade or a certain number of minutes read. That's important. But where are they pacing their progress and their success? How can we honor and show up there?
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. I like that a lot. Your next idea is to set bedtime backward.
Yes. As my kids have gotten older, it's so much harder to get them to go to bed. I don't know if you're feeling that yet.
Amen.
Yeah, so much harder. So what we like to do is say, okay, what time do you have to get up? And then they answer that question, and then we look up on Google, like how many hours of sleep do you need for your age? And then we say, okay, do the math, and then they figure out what time they need to go to sleep.
Brilliant.
And then they're more bought in, and it's easier to get them to go to bed because they believe it.
And I'll say it, they're more bought in because Google helped us parent in that moment.
Google.
We weren't the only bad guy on the bedtime block.
Yes.
And then the ownership is on them a little bit too.
Exactly.
Like, I need 10 hours of sleep. I need to wake up at 7. I'm going to march backward. That's so wise. Finally, set routines with their help.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same principle. Like you need buy-in from your kids. So instead of just saying, okay, now you're going to get up and you're going to do this, like you're not the marching order person. But if you say, okay, what do you want your mornings to look like? Do you want a slow morning? Do you want to sleep more? And then you can kind of talk through all the things they need to do and set up individualized routines for each of your kids so that they feel like they're a little bit in control of how their time goes.
I can instantly see the application for the bigger kids, but even as I'm thinking like 7, 8, 9 years old, they'd appreciate being part of that conversation and having input.
Yeah, my daughter has a whiteboard in her room and she loves it. She like wrote out her entire routine.
She's your daughter.
Oh yeah, it's so great. I'm so proud of her. But she loves it, and it just helps her feel more responsible for herself.
Yeah, there's control that comes with that too, and control equates to confidence in certain personalities and age groups. Okay, let's shift. You now have 3 ways mom can start smart. You're recommending establishing blocks. Explain this.
Okay, this is something that I believe in with all my heart. I think it is so important to take a little bit of control of our time. I think it's so easy to feel like our schedules are running us, and that makes us frantic and feel overwhelmed as moms.
Which frantic is internal, right?
Yes,
I mean, the chaos can be happening, and you can still feel in control.
Yes, exactly. So I think this is a really helpful way to help you feel more in control amid the chaos, is just establish different things like, okay, I need time for myself, I need time for work, I need time for chores, and then one thing that I'm trying to implement this year is time for me to just focus only on my kids. I found like I totally multitask in the mornings, getting out the door, and we're stressed. This year I want to just say, okay, 8:30 to 9, I am all in on my kids, and then 4 to 5, I'm all in, I'm there to help them, and I'm not going to be trying to do all the other things. So I think that will help bring a little bit of peace.
So we're breaking up our day in kind of blocks of time. This is sort of a Julie Morganson approach. Do you remember her? Oprah's organizing guru, and this very sole principle sold me. I like suckered in and bought her whole system. But it does make a difference when there's some flexibility to it too. Like the 8:30 to 9:30 window gives you kind of a runway to do what you want to do in that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice, nice. All right, the next one is small, but it can turn into a big problem if we don't decide beforehand. We got to know where to keep our stuff.
Yep, all the piles, all the papers. You know the papers are coming.
They're coming.
You know they're coming. So I think it's just good to have, where are we going to put the stuff we're going to keep? Where are we going to put the stuff that needs to go back to school? I like to have clipboards up for each of my kids, because if I don't see it, I like forget to sign it. I forget to turn it back. So we have clipboards for each kid. Throw the stuff on the clipboard somewhere where I can see it often, and it makes things a little easier.
How do you hang up the clipboards?
Just on a command hook, just like I put them like in our walkway to our garage, so I can see it.
Papers come in, they go on the clipboard, and then you know exactly whose papers are where.
Yeah.
That's super smart. And finally, you recommend we don't just take it a day at a time, we take it a week at a time.
So yeah, as we head to school, we're going to revamp our routines, and sometimes we feel like, okay, it's all got to be perfect. And I think it's important to start off on the right foot. Start off the way you want it to be, but in your own mind, say, okay, this week I'm just going to focus on morning routine. We'll kind of get that down, and once we feel good about that, then I'll focus on let's perfect the afternoon. You know, just give yourself time to settle in, and give your kids time to settle in.
I know we think we have to have this crisp, perfect start, which sounds great, but the idea of easing in, I think, gives moms permission and gives moms that grace to figure it out over the next little bit.
Yeah.
If there is a busy, overwhelmed back-to-school mom listening that says, I only have capacity, Lisa, to pick up one thing, what would you recommend for her?
I would absolutely recommend the time blocks for yourself, because when you can bring calm to yourself as the mom, you're able to show up for your kids better. So take care of yourself and kind of manage your own time. That's the number one thing.
You are that calm for so many women who look up to you on social media. So thank you for sharing what systems work for you and the advice that has resonated with you and your family. Where can we hear more?
I am on Instagram at @JustLisaAndersen. And that's where I share stuff like this.
All right, give her a follow. We'll link you over from our website, Just Lisa Andersen. And thanks for setting us off on the right foot.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate it.